And that is picked off. How dangerous. What's on the return? Comes to the outside. And he's taken down with 2 seconds remaining.
This is the Coach's Smoke Barbecue Baylor postgame show on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Offset with Smith in the backfield on 2nd and goal. And instead, they come around with the tight end. Ben Sims takes it in.
The Baylor postgame show is also presented by the Nitsche Group.
And now the short pitch to Smith, and Smith spins out of it. And Smith inside the 15, looking for the corner, and gets it. Touchdown, Bears. Keandre Coburn whipped at the line of scrimmage, and Smith sped off for 32 yards and a score.
Now here's Paul Catalina.
Well, that was not what any of us here at Sikkim 365 predicted. And that was a very typical Baylor TCU game, especially one in Fort Worth. TCU pulls what is, and I'm not exaggerating here, a massive upset. Going into this game, Baylor had no business losing. None whatsoever. They fall 30-28. Gary Bohannon throws an interception. With about a minute left in the game, TCU seals it. But the story of the game, whatever you want to say, has nothing to do with play calling, It has nothing to do with flags. It has nothing to do with Baylor not capitalizing on a couple of opportunities. It has everything to do with Chandler Morris and the game he played, which was out of this world for a guy making his first start. 29 of 41, 461 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries for 70 yards, and another score. A game for Chandler Morris. Unbelievable. 254-239-1122. Call, text. We'll get to you on the chat. We're going to hear from David Smoak here in a second as well. This does not take Baylor completely out of the Big 12 race, but they're going to need a lot of help down the stretch. A lot of help down the stretch. 254-339-1122. Armstrong, let's go to the phones right now. And it was upsets abound in college football today. Michigan State, down. Wake Forest, down. Now Baylor, down. It's one of those days in college football. Let's go to Jonas in Longview. You're on the BetUS caller line. Hold on. There you go.
I mean,
go ahead.
how are y'all doing today?
Doing great.
All right, well, I mean, I just feel like y'all are making it out to seem, just from what I heard, like Morris just absolutely came out here and tore it up. I just want to put it out there that maybe our defense shouldn't surrender that kind of yardage and scoring to a backup quarterback.
Well, I mean, look, you're right, but give the guy some credit. He just kicked their ass. I mean, he was all over the place.
Oh, I give him credit, but he's at the end of the day, he's a backup quarterback playing against supposed to be a top 10 defense, maybe top 20 defense in the country. So maybe at some point that top 10, top 20 defense should have stepped up. I don't know. And then also I had a problem. You said there couldn't be anything with play calling. I don't think we threw the ball enough. I felt like there was sort of a focus on how we weren't giving the ball to Abram. How about we throw the ball more?
Well, Jonas, I did not say play calling had nothing to do with it. I said this is not about that. I said it's everything about Chandler Morris. Like, that's the difference in the game. It's Chandler Morris today. And not willing to accept that is, going to send you in a hate spiral. Because the play call, look, they're right there at the end of the game with a chance to win it, play calling or not. If Max Duggan plays this game,
running the ball there?
Yeah, I know. And there's some questionable play calling. I get it. It's all part of the overlapping Venn diagram. But Chandler Morris is the story today. That's the story.
See, within the 35, first of all, obviously that's questionable play calling. But, we complete that pass, nobody questions it, right? So we can't put that all on Grimes.
Yeah, all right, look, and Jonas, you and I can go. You and I can go round and round. We have other calls to get to. We can go round and round and round on this. But bottom line, when a dude throws for 461 yards in his first start, yeah, the defense is problematic for sure. Yes, but you got to talk about how well he played, escaping plays. Baylor had him dead to rights many, many times. Yes, there was some questionable play calling, and there was probably a questionable defensive scheme on Baylor's part. They were ready for Max Duggan. They were not ready for Chandler Morris. All that being said, that's all in the Venn diagram of overlapping of why they lost this game. But Chandler Morris is the story. That's the biggest difference in this game, is that Baylor had no answer for him, and he played outstanding and made almost no mistakes. And he didn't turn the ball over. The one turnover they had was a fumble. The mistakes they made were missed kicks. 254-339-1122. Jack, call back. I saw your call got dropped there. But yeah, I mean that's what it's about. And I'm gonna go ahead and get Smokey on here, Armstrong, while we wait for the calls to load up. But you don't have to pot him up. So anyway, all right. David Smoak joins us now here. And Smokey, look, I just said to the caller, and they disagree with me, but you can talk about play calling. You can talk about, maybe not being completely ready for whatever was going to happen offensively. But that game is about Chandler Morris and the fact that they had no answer for him, and he played just an amazing game.
Chandler Morris, and you brought this up in a couple of texts back and forth with me, did what Trayvon Boykin did back in 2000. I think it might have been in 12 or whatever it was, 12 or 13. In fact, it was on steroids. Chandler Morris embarrassed what is supposed to be a very stingy and a very proud Baylor defense. And it wasn't just the 400 yards. It was the ability for him to buy time with his legs, including that one when Petrie had him wrapped up. He picked up 16, 18 yards at a first down. It was some scrambling. He had 70-plus yards rushing. Baylor said all the right things throughout the week. Dave Aranda said all the right things, although he was very leery of it because sometimes you don't know. But he thought that Jerry Kill would be more conservative with what he does. But remember what J.J. Joe said about Meacham. Why not? Just come in, take your hat off, let your hair down, throw it everywhere. But you got to still have somebody who can do it. You can say that and still throw 4 picks. That right there is what rivalries are all about. There is absolutely no way that Baylor should have allowed TCU to hang around, but when it was 7-0, they got the fumble and did nothing with it, and next thing you know, here comes TCU. This is going to be one that is going to be hard for Baylor to try to spit out of their mouth and clear. I know they have Oklahoma. I felt throughout the week there was so much talk on fan base about game day and Oklahoma, and I get that. I understand fans can do that. Players and coaches can't. That right there, and then even worse, Paul, to have a break where a field goal is missed and a field goal can win it, and you have the ball around midfield, passed into TCU territory. Gary Bohannon has had a really fun story. It's been a fun story this year. But now, 2 picks against Texas. They're fortunate that didn't hurt them. And the one that was tipped in the air is a great play by Tre'Vius Hodges. But that one right there was a bad throw, bad decision, bad read, and you can almost kiss the Big 12 championship game goodbye.
Yeah, and Oklahoma coming in next week, and they've put some defense on film that's going to make Caleb Williams pretty excited. And so they've got some planning to do, Smokey. Yeah,
they do, and they have a better running game. They got Kennedy Brooks and Gray, not so much in the running game, in the receiving passing game. But I'm not saying that that's going to be the weekly thing, but they could not get to Chandler Morris. They were kind of like they brought Petrie a lot, which is really sometimes their best pressure. And they brought Bernard every once in a while. But even when they did that, they could never get to Morris. I don't know. I don't see the team stats aren't in front of me. I don't know if they ever actually sacked him. It seemed like he got away a few times, threw it away a couple of times, was able to make a play. I'm telling you right now that they could not get to him. And you would think on a young quarterback, you could either play back and maybe force him to make plays. Well, heck, that's all he did all game long. That was that's a player of the week around the country type performance against a defense that was allowing 209 yards a game on the ground.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, this was something that was unexpected, completely unexpected, and for Baylor, I think for Baylor fans, I think Baylor themselves got a little caught off guard, but at the end of it, Smokey, and again, there are play calling issues. There was a defensive readiness issue, and I just think that some days guys have games, and today that was Chandler Morris.
Yeah, no, yeah, he had an incredible day, and it was not just, again, it was across the board. Think about this: Chandler Morris lit up Baylor's defense for nearly 500 yards of total offense. Deja vu of a Johnny Manziel play here and there. It was the way he escaped pressure. There was the one where he was sacked. He somehow threw it up on a 3rd and 13. He converted 3rd and long, 2nd and long, 2nd and 25, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, over and over and over again. And then Paul, it's like he just almost played the most flawless of games. There was nearly the pick at the end of the game when TCU went for, so what the heck? That could have been a pick, and who knows, running down the sideline if you go up and grab it right there in midair. You go to the high point. I'm not saying he goes all the way back, but you never know. But, man, I tell you what, Chandler Morris was I know Baylor fans are going to get frustrated. You know what? You can sit there and say what you want when you win. You could be excited. Players can. That right there today, this is one of those that's going to leave a bad taste. And a lot of it's because it's also TCU. Let's be honest. And it's TCU who's now won 6 of 7 against Baylor. Is that right? 6 of 7 since 61-58? 6 of 7. And once again, in the 11 or 12 years since Baylor started making their run as a good program since 2010, they have never drilled TCU. They have never just gone in and just drilled TCU. 61-58, 4 overtime, interception by Terrell Burt in the end zone, and the Mike Hicks interception in 2011. And TCU has come in and beaten Baylor up when they were down, and Baylor's not been able to do that in the last 10, 12 years, and that's got to hurt too.
Yeah, it really does. It absolutely does. Smokey, Oklahoma next week, they've got to pick their jaws up off the ground and go get ready. So this one can't beat them twice, and who knows what happens when they come back here. But I think this one is going to be a huge wake-up call and, really disappointing because now they don't control their own destiny anymore.
No, they don't. They're now a game back of Oklahoma State, who beat them. They're a game 2 back, technically, from Oklahoma, and a game and a half back of Oklahoma, who plays them this weekend. And, you talked about Dave Aranda. There's no roller coaster. There's none of this emotional roller coaster. Baylor never, except when it was 7-0 and they had the ball, you never felt comfortable ever in that game. And that's like I said, even when you scored, did you ever feel like you could stop Chandler Morris? And even though they did and there was a missed field goal, they still took 4 or 5 minutes off the clock. And even despite that, Baylor had the ball, great throw to Sims. Man, I like they were being patient. All they needed was a field goal. But at the same time, I don't know, man. I don't know how you don't have the emotional roller coaster. You surely can't, because if you have the emotional roller coaster, you just saw a team come up the mat and beat you that had no business playing head up with you, then let's see if you can go do that with Oklahoma and bounce back and not get too high or get too low.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Smokey, thanks. We've got calls rolling in, and not all of them.
I bet you do.
Yeah, we got calls rolling in. All right, that's David Smoak. He'll be back with us here on Monday. And let's go to Elizabeth, who I accidentally hung up on but called back. Elizabeth, thanks for your call. You're on the Bet US caller line. Elizabeth, you there? Hello? Hello? Armstrong, can you pop the phone up? Is she there? Is there? Okay. All right. I think we lost. Elizabeth, call back when you get a chance, please. Okay. Yeah, I unmuted. Okay. So 254-339-1122. Let's see. Who else did I? I dropped a couple calls here, Armstrong. I'm calling them back because we have this cool button that allows us to do that. You can put that down. I'll tell you when to bring it back up. Let's see if they figure it out who it is. I'm not sure if Elizabeth did. All right. And so while we do that, we're going to go to the text real quick. From the 979, in all seriousness, people are being down on Gary. It was very much a bad throw, but it's his first year as a starter in a brand new offense and coordinator. Whatever, it will happen. Learn from it, move on. 0-1 today and go 1-0 next week. Hashtag what's next. All right, let's go to Matt. Matt, thank you for your call. You're on the Bet US call line. Sorry I dropped you earlier.
No, you're totally fine. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to get your quick thought on the overall offensive performance.
I thought it was pretty bland. I mean, overall, they weren't diverse enough on offense. They did not take advantage of a defense that had been really bad. Now, TCU's defense was playing with a lot of emotion, but they also didn't capitalize on the fumble that they had and could have gone up 2 scores early. Yeah. That didn't happen. So, yeah, I think the overall offensive performance was pretty bland, but still almost good enough to win, which is why I'm trying to put in perspective what Chandler Morris did today.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to take anything away from Chandler Morris. What he did was very, very incredible. I consider the Baylor defense led by Dave Aranda probably top 2 in the Big 12, probably definitely top 20 in the United States. So to me, just what he did was very remarkable. I was slightly disappointed in by Gary Bohannon's ball placement today. I felt like he kept throwing a little bit behind some of his receivers. An example was the sprint route to go up to get 28 points, and then obviously on that final interception.
Yeah, they had every opportunity, Matt, to come back and win the game or to take control of it at certain points, and just never did. Never, ever, ever did. And that was really surprising. That was really surprising to me that they didn't, because that's what they've been really good at, is seizing the moment. And then at the end, they had another moment to seize, and they didn't. And yeah, some of their play calling today didn't match their opponent. But again, TCU played with a lot of heart today and a lot of emotion after an emotional week. Let's go to Chris in Fairfield. Chris, thanks for your call.
It's Mahia, Texas, not Fairfield.
Oh, sorry about that, Chris. I know. Believe me. I know, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
But, hey, I want to hit on three things, okay? I heard somebody say something about the Morris kid earlier. Mm-hmm. Big ups to him. It was like they created a college football video game of Johnny Manziel out there with him today.
Yeah.
He made the plays, so you can't discredit him. I did get tired of hearing the announcers on the TV saying he was a gym rat. Give a dude his credit. He played a good game. Mm-hmm. Second off, the secondary. Players or coaches, it seemed like nobody was stepping up or being accountable for the mistakes being made. So with that being said, I've been seeing this all year. The big plays downfield has been made by teams. And I was hoping they would go into this game, win this game, have a big game next week against Oklahoma. But even against Oklahoma with better athletes, it kind of scared me. Like, we've seen this happen week after week with big passes down the field and players being lost, just bad plays being made by the secondary, Third thing is Bohannon. Yeah, I know he won the starting quarterback position, but it seems at times, though, he doesn't lead the team when he's out there, passing and some of the passing plays he does, I don't know. He doesn't look normal with him back there, like he's comfortable. But I think this was a big opportunity for them to go into next week, and they just goofed it up.
Yeah,
plain and simple.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I think Gary Bohannon still sometimes has that a little bit of lack of experience. I think that you see that in these moments, but he just makes some throws sometimes that either don't have enough on them or he doesn't judge right where the receiver is. But for the most part, he's been very safe with the ball. And the two picks he threw today, one was just a great play, that should have been a touchdown. And then the other one was, he telegraphed a mistake at the end of the game. So, there's really not much you can do about it. In that last play when you telegraph it, the first one, Travius Hodges just made a fantastic play. I don't know how to describe it any other way than that, but going into Oklahoma next week, that's not what you wanted to have. And, a friend of mine texted me this week about firing Patterson. It was kind of a win-win if they lose, if Patterson coming in and writing up a game play. If they lose, it's because they didn't follow it and wasn't there to make calls and adjustments. If they win, it's because they followed his game plan. Yeah, that's kind of it right there. Win-win on that scenario for him being there. And they did everything right when they had to. TCU did today, and Chandler Morris was fantastic. I think that's the story of the game. 254-339-1122. We'll load up some more calls, texts, and chat room. We'll take a break right here. We'll come back. This is the Baylor Postgame Show on Second 365 Radio, brought to you by Coaches XXX Smoak.
Dave Aranda, Baylor football. Masters of barbecue, kings of crazy good food, and the perfect sanctuary for sports, beer, and barbecue is Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco and also on Highway 84 in McGregor. A menu filled with choices like a great offensive playbook, including 3 meat combos with sides, burgers, and sandwiches, wings, loaded giant spuds, and salads. Crazy wings, chicken poppers, big boy fries, and smoking quesadillas, just some of their amazing appetizers. There's Coach Big Ol' Draft Beer, or order Zach's Spicy Bloody Mary or Coach's Margaritas and Mimosas while watching your favorite team play. Great pecan smoked barbecue, fun atmosphere with attention to detail, including a catering menu, and we'll quote your price to fit your budget. Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and walking distance to the great places to shop and enjoy, and also the original location on Highway 84 in McGregor. Great food, great price, great fun. Eat where the locals eat.
The 2021 Ram brand just received first place in the prestigious J.D. Power's Initial Quality Study. The Dodge brand finished second to Ram, and the 2021 Jeep Gladiator is first among all midsize trucks. Quality and Ram Power Days, only at Allen Samuels, 201 West Loop 340.
Come by, let's be friends.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Call us on the BetUS hotline, 254-339-1122.
Welcome back into the Baylor postgame show here on 365 Sports, Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by Coach's XXX Smoke Barbecue, 254-339-1122. If you want to call in and vent and give your thoughts, but again, I think this game's about Chandler Morris. But we just got a text from my friend Nelson. Number 3, number 9, number 12 go down in one weekend. And the number 2 team in the country is down at the moment. And number 4 is still to play tonight. So, it's a lot. That is wild. That is wild. Baylor's got to refocus for Oklahoma. But given what... And look, and it was Gary Patterson gave them his game plan. And TCU's game plan maybe exposed some things in the Baylor defense that they're going to have to work on before they play OU. But this was the perfect trap game, the absolute perfect trap game for Baylor. And sandwiched in between Texas, where they have a big comeback and a win over a rival, a team that's leaving the conference. There's a lot of emotion. And then TCU fires their coach heading in. Everything says Baylor should win this game big. Every single thing says Baylor should win this game big. And TCU, Baylor came out and jumped to a 7-0 lead like that. Big runs, powerful by Abram Smith. And touchdown to Tyquan Thornton. Okay, then they fumble. Okay, this couldn't be working out better for Baylor. But TCU just kept coming, and Chandler Morris just kept coming, and they doing Johnny Manziel type things and running around out there. It was impressive to a high degree. And got a question on I think that's on the text. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Many in the Baylor fan base laughed and poked fun at TCU all week long with the firing of Patterson. TCU heard it. Word to Baylor, never poke an angry wounded dog with a stick. You will get bit. Today, Baylor got bit and chewed up. Yeah, that's very true. Where is that question? Somebody asked about maybe it was in the chat, but about TCU keeping in Chandler Morris next week. I think TCU should play the hot hand. And if Chandler Morris is still the hot hand, keep playing him and let Max Duggan get healthy. And then you can sort out your quarterback issues in the offseason or later in the year for the bowl game. But Max Duggan's not healthy, and now they have every reason to let him stay and get completely healthy and not try to play on that injured foot anymore. You've got Chandler Morris. He showed what he can do. He's one of the best defenses in the conference. 461 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 70 yards rushing and a touchdown, and made clutch plays. The touchdowns aren't even it. It was more the third down and longs that kept getting over and over and over again. Dave Mercado, 34 yards rushing. Not a great day. Now, Quentin Johnston had a fantastic day, the Temple native. Fantastic day. Everybody receiving the ball was all over the place. 10 different or 11 different receivers caught the ball. Let's see, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of course, one of those was Chandler Morris. So 9 different receivers. Chandler Morris caught a pass on a little trick play, too. And Baylor was not ready defensively and had one of their more sluggish days offensively where they just kind of didn't respond until too late. And that's the story of this game. So, I mean, the chat room's kind of going nuts. So I'm not sure how much I can get in this chat room because there's kind of an argument going on outside of what we're talking about right now. I don't know how I sift through this internet madness to get that done. But from the 4-7-9, what are you going to say when OSU slaps TCU around next week? Well, I'm going to say, I mean, every game is is its own thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but I would stick with Chandler Morris and OSU. Here's the thing: TCU has no longer the element of surprise. Oklahoma State has to go, oh, hey, all right, this is what they're doing, and yeah, I mean, what am I going to say? I mean, I'm talking about today's game, not next week's game. I can't predict the future, and if I could. Would I have, this is a great job, but would I have this particular job if I could predict the future? Me and Armstrong would be like going on trips around the world just winning at blackjack or something. That's what we'd be doing. I don't know. What would we do if I could predict the future? It wouldn't be this.
No, not this.
Yeah. I would be like working with the president being like, hey, you may want to be ready for some bad stuff that's about to happen. I mean, hey, watch out, the stock market's about to go nuts. Those kind of things I'd be doing. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with OSU and TCU next week. And ultimately, it doesn't matter because this is not the OSU TCU postgame show. It's the Baylor TCU postgame show, and I'm living in the moment. So, from the 4-7-9, he says he predicts Baylor to beat Oklahoma next week, and maybe they do. Maybe they do. I don't know. Steven from Virginia. Thanks for your call. You're on the Bet US caller line.
Gary Patterson sacrificed his college coaching career to beat Baylor, and I am sick. I don't really, at the beginning of the year, the two games that I probably thought we would lose the most outside of Oklahoma and Texas were road games against Oklahoma State and TCU. I think sometimes on the road to building great things, losses like this happen. Baylor is still staring a possible 9-3 season in the face, and I think we were a few weeks in and questioning. After a close first half against Kansas and a close game against Texas State, if this was a good football team. So I don't want to jump off the bandwagon, but I really hate losing to those guys, man. The horny toads. You want to sit here and tell me these people take themselves seriously? It's like we're sick 'em Bears. Texas is hook 'em horns. Tech is wreck 'em Tech. A&M is gig 'em Aggies. And what is TCU, man? No one has given me a straight answer. Is it frog 'em? What do we got over here, man? And look, they may have won that game, but somebody needs to do something about those people wearing purple and white striped overalls and no shirts underneath. Something needs to be done about that, man. So I'm just sick. So I'll see y'all next week. Later, guys.
Later, Steven. Steven getting down Armstrong to the real issues. Mm-hmm. The real issues. What's with the overalls? That's what Steven wants to know. Before we take our call from Matt, who is in Fort Worth, Jackson Anderson. Paul, how do you suggest I get over this loss? I haven't felt this way since the Michigan State loss in the Cotton Bowl. Look, Jackson, I would say it's just a game. There's another one next week. Baylor can really help itself by beating Oklahoma, and that's what they need to focus on. TCU's over. It stinks, but it's in the history books now, and you have to deal with it. So there are losses, and I'm sure this would be a great talk show topic, is games you'll never get over, and there are some that you'll never get over. This is one, Baylor fans, I promise you, and I hate to tell you this. I'm giving you the blunt truth. You're never going to get over this. Armstrong, you're going to, 10 years from now, you and your buddies will be sitting around eating barbecue and talking about games, and then somebody's going to be like, you know what game really ticks me off? 2021 TCU. It's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's the nature of sports. The reason that we love it so much is that it makes us hate it so much. Yep. Like today, if you're a Baylor fan, if you're a Michigan State fan, if you're a who else lost? We were talking about. If you're a Wake Forest fan.
Wake Forest, yeah.
Yeah. You hate sports today. Sports are dumb.
Yep.
And then a week's going to come around and you're like, man, I love sports. And you love sports because sports makes you feel this way. Is what it is. It's the weirdest, stupidest thing in the world. If sports were your girlfriend, your friends were like, man, you got to break up with sports. She's all over the map. One day you guys are having a great time, and we all like her. We do. But, man, sports, just some days, she doesn't care about your feelings at all. We can't take it anymore. It's hard to make plans with you. That's what would happen, and that's what sports does to you. And today's one of those days where sports just wrecks you. Let's go to Matt from D.C., who I believe is in Fort Worth today. Matt, thanks for calling. You're on the Bet US caller line.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. You know what? Damn, that hurt. That one's gonna be hurt. That hurts as much as my last time I was here was 2015, and I stood in 38-degree rain and cold, but that one hurt. And all I have to say about this is just. The real problem is, Baylor Nation, the real problem is, besides Abram Smith, name one playmaker on this offense.
Tyquan Thornton.
Name one person on this offense that's going to get drafted next year. Zero. Name one person in 2 years that's going to get drafted on this offense. That's a problem. We have got to get big, tall wide receivers that score points. We have got to get bigger and stronger on the offense. Defense, hey, you held them to 30. We just got to score 31. I always say, hey, score 30, we win. Hey, today wasn't enough. There's not one person on this offense that's going to go to the NFL in the next 1 to 2 years. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. I'm not an NFL scout, but the problem is today, no one steps up. Gary didn't step up, and it's not a knock on the person himself. We need playmakers. I need someone to take over the game. And like Oklahoma's next week, who's going to take over the game? And I'll leave it at that. Show me someone who's going to take over the game. Thank y'all.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Matt. T-Rex, you're on SicEm 365 Radio on the post-game show brought to you by Coach XXX Smoak. Thanks for your call.
Hey, guys. Y'all might have already talked about it because I just called in. I haven't listened to the show yet, so I don't know. And I obviously didn't have a chance to listen to the post-game from the coach comments. But, I just don't understand, obviously, the play call where we passed the ball there instead. We have over a minute left, timeout on the board. Running the ball down their throat is working. Just run the ball. And then I don't understand half the play calling probably all game. And there's a lot of things I don't understand. I don't understand why we play down to this shit team every time. Why do we play down to them? Why do we play down to our opponents? We act like we're going to compete for a Big 12 championship. You don't compete for Big 12 championships if you don't compete like you're the best. So we got to stop playing down to people. But all I know is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if we win out and Oklahoma State wins out, we have head-to-head over OU, and maybe we win the Big 12 title game like that. I don't know. There could be some crazy stuff I'm missing out on. But, hey, there's a chance. But the only thing that matters now is beating OU. But we got to show up and act like we actually have a football game to play, because today we didn't act like we had a football game to play until the fourth quarter. Sick 'em Bears.
Yeah. Of course, if Oklahoma State wins out and Baylor wins out, I think that's the scenario, right, Armstrong, that they have to hope for? If Baylor wins out and Oklahoma State wins out, that's their scenario.
Baylor can win out. Oklahoma State has to win out, then we're still in the Baylor's still in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, so you got to hate Oklahoma next week, and you got to keep hating them. You got to love Oklahoma State for the rest of the year. Whoever whatever their opponent is, you got to hope for them to get vengeance on TCU next week. Of course, they need that, but the only team that truly is in the driver's seat right now is Oklahoma, because they're undefeated. They've got a mulligan to give down the stretch, is Chandler Morris, here's from the 972, is Chandler Morris really that good? Was today a fluke, or do we need to deal with this guy for the next 3 years? Look, it's a one-game thing, but I didn't see much not to like if you're TCU on Chandler Morris. And if you're Max Duggan, you might have got Wally pipped. And Max Duggan's a heck of a gamer, but he's not that. He's never once been that. Today, 461 yards. So I think that the sadder one is that. So, yeah. I mean, look, Smokey responded to that text. He wasn't recruited to OU because he's a nice kid, because he can play ball. He left because Spencer Rattler, Tanner Mordecai, Chandler Moore. I mean, that's a lot. That was the depth chart. Tanner Mordecai and Chandler Morris were both on the depth chart with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams at Oklahoma. All four of those guys were there. So, but, the 30-28 final score is what you're going to have to deal with, Baylor fans, and move on and hope for a win against OU next week and see and come what may. That's what you're going to have to do. So really, really unbelievable game for Chandler Morris. That was the story of the game. And Baylor's got to pick up the pieces and move on next week and not let the fact that they might have gotten knocked out of the Big 12 title race get them down. But sometimes you can do all the preparation in the world. You can be ready for every kind of thing. And then a guy like Chandler Morris comes along and plays the game of his life. I think that's the other thing about sports. That's a reason I told you it's the most fun and most awful girlfriend you can have. Your friends would just have to sit you down and be like, man, you got to stop with sports. You've got to. And that's how it is. But thank you to everybody who called the show today. Thanks to David Smoak. Thanks to Armstrong Sims. Thanks to, everybody who calls and listens and participates. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Sorry I couldn't get to all of you because, I don't know, there's a whole separate discussion going on that I can't follow. But that's the internet. Again, have a great weekend, everybody. It's okay to relax and just let it wash over you. That's gonna do it for us here on 365 Sports. Please like and subscribe whenever you get the chance. We'll be back on Monday at 3 o'clock with Sikkim 365 Radio. Have a great night, everybody.